Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners and poisoning cases from across the centuries and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 42.
42.
Life, the universe, and everything after.
I was just going to say that. You beat
Well,
me
you
to
didn't.
it.
Building up to it, and I snatched it
I was
from
building a building, and then you... Oh, no.
you. How are you, Nick?
I'm alright. I can't complain. It's December. So,
December!
I'm quite looking forward to putting the tree up this weekend. Can
Snow
we?
in the yard.
Okay, request for this week's episode.
Okay.
Can we replace the normal theme music with like that really dramatic Carol of the Bells?
Oh, the Carol of the Bells. Oh, yes.
So
We
I think
should. I'll try
replace
and
the theme tune throughout December with that.
seamlessly meld that in. This whole conversation would be pointless because they'll have already heard it by now. But then they'll be going, "What the fuck happened there?" Yeah, I'm normally I am not festive at all until about a week before Christmas because I'm like, all these people putting up their lights and
This
their
year
presents.
requires it. Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
much
God.
the same. I'm sort of like mid-December Christmas tree time. Now I'm going, fuck it, just get on with it because I need something jolly.
All the lights have gone up already in my house. I was just lights everywhere outside, the trees outside my house, the house. I just threw lights at it for ages. I did try to do that wrappy around the lights around the tree trunk thing and it looked awful and then I had to untangle all of it.
The lights around the house thing. I thought that's a lot of lights.
I just ran and ran and ran. I'm in a terrace, so I mean it was a long run.
Yeah, exactly. How does that work?
Any poisonings this week?
No.
Right.
I don't believe so. Christmas
that's
is not the
good.
time for poisoning, I feel.
No, it isn't.
It
For a Poirot-like kind of Christmas country house poisoning, yes, but we don't have that luxury.
I do not live in a lovely sort of 1930s Art Deco sort of country house.
And it tears me up inside, Nick, every day.
Yes, well, indeed. And me. So, no.
There was a split second where I was like, oh no, there has been a poisoning this week. And I just realised it's the audiobook I've been listening, coincidentally, has a poison garden in it.
Nice.
It's called The Turn of the Key. It's very good, actually. It's very good. And it suddenly in the middle of it, there's a poison garden. And I'm like, yes! What specific plants grow there? Yeah, I was shouting a lot at the audiobook.
I
There we
can
are.
well imagine.
Well, you know what we should do before we go any further into December or any of this Christmas talk, Nick?
Yes.
We should thank our Patreon subscribers.
Thank you indeed. We should indeed. So thank you, delightful, lovely people. Francesca Carendi
Riley Newman
and Laura Holly.
and Libby Norris.
You're all delightful. Thank you so much for joining us on this crazy adventure.
Very, very sexy Patreon subscribers. We are at 95. We are so close to 100.
All you people out there who haven't joined us on Patreon yet, are you mad? It's so much fun. But to get to 100 for Christmas would be a truly delightful thing. It would be quite amazing.
I can't believe it. I can't believe we've gotten this far. We are
quite.
eternally grateful and so pleased that so many of you have joined us on this journey. And we hope you like it. There are loads more episodes on Patreon and all sorts of crazy shit that we put out. So hopefully you like it. But yeah, join us. Tell us what you think of it. It is but $5 a month or £4.50 a month.
But a price of a coffee in your
What
local...
kind of coffee are you drinking?
I don't. To be honest, I haven't bought a takeaway coffee for a long time. I have no idea how much they are.
No, I just buy them for you and bring them to you.
Pretty much, yeah. But I bring you cocktails every week, so stop you complaining.
This is true. I really should shut up. Well, Nick,
Hello.
are you ready to drink cocktails and talk about poison?
Ooh, I think so.
Or we could drink poison and talk about
No,
cocktails.
I'm well on the way for a cocktail.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Yes, good. We'll go with the first one.
But, we could be doing both, really, couldn't we?
I was going to raise this point, but you know what? Let's keep the illusion alive. Well, it is Nick's story this week for episode 42, but obviously we can't possibly tell a story without a cocktail in hand. And as you know, darling listeners, our cocktails are always flavoured with a secret ingredient which is inspired by the tale that we tell. This week's secret ingredient picked by Nick is
a very apt secret ingredient, I think. Is the lovely, delightfully tasty and healthy, good for you, revitalising, rejuvenating
is
Belladonna.
Belladonna. There's so many questions.
Well, so
this is it. This is the week where we drink poison and talk about cocktails.
this is the week.
This is officially it. I know for a fact that you have Belladonna Seeds sitting on
do.
your mantelpiece or on your bookshelf. I don't think that matters, actually, quite frankly, where they are, because they're in the bloody drink now. Sent to you by the delicious Carla Valentine. You have Belladonna in your house. In your house. So, excuse me for being nervous about this week's secret ingredient.
Well, okay. I do have Belladonna seeds, and I'm very much looking forward to planting them. From my random Googling, I believe it is best planted in the spring. So I have not yet planted them.
No, you put them to another use.
You're safe at the moment.
At the moment.
This time next year, I shall have a Belladonna bush. Huge and deadly.
Do they grow into a bush? Do they?
I don't know. Plant, shrub, tree.
I don't think anyone's lived to tell.
So we'll find out.
I'd love the idea that you're going to have a Belladonna bush outside that you tend to each day lovingly.
Yes.
Okay, so with Belladonna as the goddamn secret ingredient, these are the warning signs. Most of the stories that we tell, there are some warning signs along the way. If someone asks you to sign over your insurance or it talks about inheritance, I'm just getting a big, oh, there's Belladonna in this cocktail, by the way. I feel like I should stop.
British, you don't. But you don't, do you?
No,
you feel like you should, but you don't.
I don't. I can't help it.
What's that? That's the sign of an addict, isn't it? A podcast addict.
Cocktail addict.
Yeah, well, more to the point, yes.
There's a little bit of me like, this could kill me.
But it could be lovely.
I've led a good life.
That you have.
And I've grown weary of it. I dread to ask, what have you come up with?
We have. You, our dear listeners, may be disappointed to learn that I have not ground up the seeds from my Belladonna plant and sprinkled them liberally into the drink, as I was tempted to do.
Well, I think they're probably relieved because then the podcast can go on.
But it could have gone on with me!
I will say again, I think they're relieved.
This week we have the Belladonna Daiquiri.
Ooh, okay. Oh, relief. The relief floods over me. Belladonna Daiquiri. So, fair play to you, Nick. And it sounds delicious. Yay.
Well, indeed, I'm intrigued because it's one I'd had come across under previous research, but also one that was mentioned on Instagram as well. And I put the two things together. I thought, this is the week for such a cocktail. So here we are.
Well, I'm very excited to hear the story and to taste this cocktail now as ever, because we are still in isolation in England, tier 3. God damn it. Nick and I are recording this remotely, but he has as ever delivered a little bottle of cocktails for me. So we're both going to go into our isolation kitchens and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
I'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So, Nick, Belladonna Daiquiri. It is looking very pretty.
Very nice.
It's another rust-coloured one.
It is another. There have been a lot of rust-coloured ones recently. I need to branch out into the more flamboyant colours, I feel. I want some blue cocktails and things.
Yeah, we haven't really had flamboyant cocktails on here.
There are many things that you can do with coloured things.
But you know what? A good brown cocktail often is, we've rarely gone wrong with brown ones.
Okay, I'm going to leave that there.
So talk us through it.
No, you know the rules now.
Oh, for God's sake.
We've changed the rules.
So I'm not allowed to know what's in it. I have to taste it first. We used to like to talk it through.
Well, we'll talk it through afterwards.
Okay, fine. So what I do know is that there is a cinnamon sugar rim, which I have taken your direction and dusted the glass with.
Yes, indeed.
So,
right.
okay, so...
What do you smell?
Oh, I've got a cold.
What aromas do you get?
Ooh!
There must be one thing in there that you can pick up.
I'm thinking almonds.
Yes.
Yay!
So what could that be?
Cyanide! Cyanide! There's no belladonna in it. Fuck tons of cyanide, that's fine. Oh, God!
Just drink it.
Okay. Well, I love almonds, so I'm going to dive in and go for it. Okay, cheers. Ooh!
I like that.
Ooh, that's a fruity delight. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
that actually really
yeah.
worked. I'm really pleasantly surprised.
God damn it, that's good. Oh, another roaring success. We've not had a bad one. People are probably disappointed. I think some people do tune in waiting for me just to have the same reaction as I did with the Golden Cadillac.
We haven't had chartreuse in quite some time, so that is bound to make a resurgence soon.
Oh, that is nice. The cinnamon sugar is nice. Doesn't add too much. But talk us through it, Nick. What has I just put in my mouth?
So, as you would expect from anything called a daiquiri, it has a base of rum.
Hooray!
But this time we have a dark rum.
Yay.
Rather than the light rum you would usually get in a normal daiquiri. Amaretto, lemon juice, and a splash of sugar. That's it.
Is that it?
That's it.
It's delicious.
And it works surprisingly well. The amaretto, I thought the amaretto might be slightly overpowering. You can smell it. It's quite strong in its smell, but in the taste, it's not overpowering at all.
So amaretto actually has apricots in it, hasn't it? Apricot kernels.
Does it?
Bizarrely. It's got a weird thing that it's actually apricot kernels. Or someone maybe shouted that to me when I was drunk, or they were drunk.
And therefore it must be true.
Yeah,
Did you learn about it on Wikipedia?
Yes. The two drink weird facts I know are that amaretto, someone was very fervently saying, no, it's apricot kernels in amaretto. And then Dr Pepper has almonds in it.
You know what? I've never had a Dr Pepper in my life.
Wow. Have you not?
No.
Ooh, it was all the rage back in my day.
That's because you're so desperately old.
Desperately old. Oh, I don't mind a Doctor. It's very, very sweet, but it's got almond flavouring to it. Again, someone has told me this. I've never looked it up. It's one of the facts I've just assumed is true. The Isle of Wight is attached to the mainland of UK by a big chain. My sister told me that.
A trusting person, aren't you?
I just drank a goddamn Belladonna cocktail, Nick. I think we've established my trust levels are high, but that is delicious. Simple.
Yeah, good.
Simple, classic.
Like it. Recipe will be out later on today, so I would very much recommend give it a go. And it's not got anything desperately weird that people might not have at home. So it's perfectly doable from a home bar. So go for it. Well worth a try.
Simple recipe done beautifully. Is there any reason of why it's called a Belladonna Daiquiri?
You know what? I was thinking that. Not a clue. No reason that I can see. I mean, as far as I'm aware, Belladonna does not have an almondy aroma or anything that's more of a cyanide thing. Nor does it have a rummy aroma or even a lemony one. So
one of two things has happened here. Someone has either gotten confused when they named it, thinking, Belladonna, taste of almonds. No, it doesn't. That's cyanide. Almonds taste of cyanide. And they just went with it. Or it's so delicious, it will make your eyes wide and beautiful with the drunkenness.
Well, there is that. Perhaps that is the way. Perhaps 2 or 3 of these and your eyes just go, oh, the world is a beautiful place. And you are opened with wonder. Maybe that is the truth.
Wide-eyed with wonder.
Or it's some sort of desperately cynical marketing ploy.
Could well be.
Yeah, it worked. I made it.
It worked, you made it.
Yep.
That's what the person had in mind when they invented it. Belladonna Daiquiri. Roaring success, guys. Definitely make one of those because you must have the ingredients in-house. And we have them firmly in our hand as I ask, is it time for a story, Nick?
It's time for a story.
Yay!
So, as we've said, it is me again for this week's Tale of Deadly Shenanigans. But this week, we have the story of Dr. Robert Buchanan.
Ooh.
Yet another physician gone to the dark side. Robert Buchanan, born in Nova Scotia in Canada in 1862.
Ooh, Canada, like it.
So Canada, yes indeed. But in 1866, he moves with his wife and young daughter to New York City.
What was wrong with Nova Scotia? It's nice.
He's going to make his fortune. He's going to set up his new practice. And of course, he's going to make absolute mint, becoming a doctor to the fancy society folks throughout the city, to the stars. He's going to make it. Absolutely.
Did he have any clients sort of lined up, or is he just equivalent of an ingenue going to LA? Just going, I'm going to walk the streets and be picked up by all the Hollywood producers. All the New York stars are going to go, yes, that's what I want for my doctor.
Well, I mean, thankfully he had a slight advantage on those ingenue types that he was actually a trained medical doctor. He didn't just rock up going, I'm going to be a doctor, but have you training? No, but I believe I can. So, thankfully, he was actually a doctor, and he actually does quickly gain a reputation as a very well-respected and a very capable doctor. And he does indeed develop these connections with society circles that he was aiming for, and makes great friends amongst these people. But there's always a but with these things.
There's always a but.
Now, being a doctor, as respected as it is, it's not a hugely well-paid position. You're not bringing in an absolute fortune.
No.
But he was mixing in circles way beyond him. And he was trying to keep up with his clients and people who he believed were his friends, who were miles above him in social standing.
The impression that I always get in America, maybe it's different at that time, is that a doctor is quite a good profession to have, because if you're a private doctor, You're on a damn good salary because of the private healthcare thing over there. There's no public healthcare. Whereas in England, if you're a doctor, it's just you're out saving lives, and here's a potato once a month.
I mean, it is a most respectable, and if he was content with that sort of, I mean, a very comfortable sort of middle class sort of lifestyle, he would have been absolutely fine. But he was always aiming for higher.
There's no plastic surgeons at that time.
No, indeed, absolutely. So he's always
rudimentary ones.
Yeah, terrible ones. But he believes he belongs in this sort of rarefied world of society. These efforts to keep up with the Joneses, as it were.
Those bastards.
Keep this outward appearance of confidence and belonging in that world become incredibly stressful and hard to maintain. And as does happen, he turns to the bottle to help him get through it. To relieve those stresses, he turns to the drink.
Oh, to the drink.
Which is...
Not to another couple called the Bottles.
Oh, no.
Because the Joneses are being bitches.
Not to the bottles, but to the bottle. And his drinking becomes a real problem. A real problem for him. Arguments at home with his wife. His wife is still at home with their young daughter. The more he drinks, the more frequent the arguments and the frustrations become at home, and he spends more and more time away from home, away from his wife.
Back in his practice. If he's drunk there as well, that's not going to help either.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal.
No, he might forget what kind of doctor he is.
I mean, now, imagine yourself. Close your eyes, imagine.
Okay.
You're a
I'm doing it.
I'm glad you're a successful doctor in New York City. You aren't loaded, you aren't rich, but you're very comfortable. You have a bit of cash in your pocket. You can afford to splash out on a few bits and pieces.
Ideal life, great.
Yeah, but you're having more and more arguments with your wife.
Ah, that bitch.
Home life is becoming more fractious and just difficult.
She will not stop putting up Christmas decorations. It's just, I can't really deal with this right now.
Where do you end up? Where do you go in this situation? You've got a bit of money in your pocket. Where do you find yourself ending up?
Okay, so I'm going to go with either the most fabulous cocktail bar in the city, or a brothel, or a combination of the two.
Combination of the two. Yeah, and you would in fact be
Yay!
right. He could have gone and stayed with a friend, checked into a hotel, stayed in his office or anything like that, but where is the fun in that?
Exactly. If you're going to be kicked out of home, where are you going to say, oh, come and stay in this nice, comfortable hotel? I'd rather go and stay in this brothel with the cocktails and hookers.
Well, exactly. I mean, at this time, there is no shortage of brothels in New York City.
It's a wonderful time. Yes. Every office comes with a brothel.
Plenty of choice. Different venue every night.
I am picturing the brothels as proper kind of speakeasy, burlesque style, with the beautiful opulence and all the ostrich feathers and like cages of people dancing, which sounds great. I'm not picturing probably the horrible grubby back streets of sadness and depression.
No. See, you're right. In my mind, there's lots of red velvet curtains going on.
And voluptuous, beautiful, well-fed women.
Big dresses and things like that. It looks fantastic. It's
the Moulin Rouge. That's it. It's not just a sad, terrible hotel. No, let's go to the fluffy, lovely redness. So,
it's the fluffy, lovely place. But in one of these establishments that he frequents, he meets Anna Sutherland.
Not Satine.
Not Satine, unfortunately. Not Satine. Now, I don't know exactly what services she was able to provide to Dr. Buchanan, but he was soon quite besotted. Absolutely obsessed. Ooh. Head over heels.
We're all thinking it.
Anna is no mere working girl, though.
Oh, okay.
That would not have been good enough for Dr. Buchanan, for Dr. Buchanan's ego, really. Anna was, in fact, the brothel madam.
Ooh.
She
nice.
ran the establishment.
Oh yes, she was senior.
She was senior, absolutely, and that fits in very well with his. This is the sort of person that I should be with. None of these sort of mere prostitutes. No. But I am with the madam. I'm very fancy.
You have standards in the level of prostitute.
Exactly, he has standards. Now, Buchanan's wife seemingly knows nothing of these carryings on and his extracurricular activities. And it comes as a complete shock to her when in 1890 he files for divorce.
Oy.
from his wife. Now, divorce is still quite the taboo subject at this time, and it certainly causes quite the scandal. A professional man divorcing his wife for no reason other than he has fallen in love with a prostitute.
That's a reason.
It is a reason. It's not one that his friends and his clients in the society, the circles that he's aiming for, particularly willing to accept.
Does he admit this, or is he...
He doesn't openly admit it. It is widely talked about.
Right.
But not, he does not come out and say, this is the why I'm doing it, because I fall in love with a prostitute, because that probably wouldn't go down too well.
It wouldn't be very good if he was in his practice and he said, I'm leaving my wife for a prostitute. Could I just have my leg examined, please? I don't need to know your life story. Yeah, I suppose if it's gossiped about and he's just sort of,
It's a
open
lot
secret.
of gossip.
Oh, the scandal.
And it does, it causes scandal. Now, even if people could vaguely bring themselves to accept divorce, the rumours around the reasons why are hugely damaging to his reputation and his medical practice. Even so, he does not seem to blink an eyelid. This is absolute. I can accept this. And within a year, he has married Anna.
Wow, that's a bold move.
It's a bold move, and they move into an apartment on West 11th Street.
On one hand, modern perception.
Yes,
that's nice.
Also,
at the time, wow. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he tries to hide this marriage by claiming that she's actually only his housekeeper, living there. But people are not buying this in the slightest.
She's still wearing the burlesque outfit, and she's dusting while dangling from a hoop.
Well, to make matters worse, she doesn't do any of that. He, in fact, makes her the receptionist at his medical practice. This does not go down well.
But surely she can speak. I mean, she's not an idiot.
She's not an idiot. Far from it. She's a very confident, forthright, strong woman.
So It's more the perceptions of people coming in and they're meeting her.
Precisely. She is a brothel madam from New Jersey.
You didn't say anything about New Jersey. Oh, man.
She is not used to dealing with the type of people who are coming to Buchanan's clinic. These sort of more refined clientele. She's loud and she's vulgar, she's crude, and she certainly does not endear herself to the patients at all. And these patients are leaving in ever-increasing numbers, going, I cannot be dealing with this. Now, with the ever-dwindling patient list, combined with his expensive tastes, Buchanan knows he's in trouble. Money from the surgery is so slim and so infrequent now that they come to rely on Anna's savings. And she is certainly in a better position than he is.
Ooh.
She has built herself a bit of a nest egg over the years. She's an incredibly shrewd, clever businesswoman, by the sounds of it. She's saved up some money. She owns property in New Jersey. She's quite comfortable, really. And this does not go unnoticed by her poor doctor husband, and he actually takes out a $50,000 life insurance policy on her and makes himself the sole beneficiary.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
Never a good indication in these cases. But she's earning the money. She's bringing the money in. They're pretty much living off her savings. If anything were to happen to her, he would be entirely bereft. He would be homeless. So a life insurance policy is a sound precaution, surely.
I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to ingratiate myself with society. I'm going to give a prostitute a job. Yes, I'm going to marry her and I love her and she can set up the business. She's got the money. She's been the savvy businesswoman. He's been walking around the streets going, I be a doctor, come see me. I don't know why he's got a West Country accent. Let's go with it. And he's done a shit job at his business, and he's now living off her money.
He's living very much with her money. Now, I do not know what sort of slightly deluded expectations Buchanan has when he embarked upon this new life with Anna. When he was a paying client in the brothels, no doubt it had been an amazingly sexy, jolly time with this woman who was strong and confident, crude, but that's quite fun.
And being paid
so much better than this like mousy little wife at home. And then he must have thought, I know, I can have this, if I marry her, I can have this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop shagging for life. And I won't have to pay a cent. It's a win all round.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've never had a lover like you before. Tell me more about your business plans and your briefcase. Oh, I'm so fascinated. Your hour's up.
Pretty much. Unsurprisingly, this fantasy is not quite living up to reality.
Oh, the woman has hopes and dreams and ideas of her own and doesn't want to hear about him 24/7.
I mean, such thing is unthinkable, surely. These two, they fight endlessly. He is humiliated and embarrassed by her behaviour at the surgery and stuff like that. She is there going, you married me, you knew exactly what you were getting into, what the fuck is your problem?
Damn
Arguments
straight.
abound.
Yeah.
She threatens to leave, but he realises that if she does, he's fucked. He is absolutely screwed. But it doesn't stop him frequently telling friends that she is an unbearable old hag and that she has to go. Somehow she has to go. But as we said, a divorce will be messy, public, and probably leave him worse off financially than he already was. He needs her money. What other options could there be?
I'm sensing one. I'm sensing it's like that slow truck coming over the hill. You know it's coming towards you. You know it's going to get here. I'm thinking maybe something poison related.
Right, hold that thought.
I shall.
Hold that thought. Off we go. Earlier that year, a medical student, Carlisle Harris, had been convicted of killing his wife with morphine. It was shown that she had the telltale pinpointing of the pupils, which was a side effect of morphine overdose, and he was convicted and sentenced to death. Now, throughout this trial, which was heavily publicised, Buchanan has discussed this case frequently with acquaintances and friends and pretty much anyone who would listen to him in the pub. He refers to Harris as a stupid amateur, a bungling fool. He proudly boasts that he knew exactly how to eliminate those giveaway tiny pupils when taking or giving morphine. If Harris had...
No. Oh, no. Okay, go on.
if Harris had simply applied a drop of atropine into his victim's eyes, the dilation caused would have completely returned the pupils back to normal, and no one would have been any the wiser.
Oh, there's so many things wrong with that.
And where
also,
do we get atropine from?
Belladonna. Belladonna, to make the eyes more beautiful. It is Belladonna. Chuck that in the eyes, big pupils. No! There would be very, very obvious other signs of morphine overdose if someone was looking at it properly. Maybe he's basing it on the fact that people aren't really looking for morphine overdoses. But just, give her a morphine overdose, just top it up with more drugs in the eyes.
It works, it does the trick, and a plan begins to form. Such a cunning plan.
Such a cunning plan that you tell all of your mates in the pub. Just tell them, make sure you tell everybody. It's the logic in people's heads, like, I have to make sure that people know that I understand things.
I am the cleverest in the room.
I'm the cleverest in the room. Also, my wife will soon die. Why? Tell me more.
The days before Anna's death, Buchanan begins to prepare his cover story. He tells his friend that she is so very sick, she is so very unwell. She might die. You know, she might.
Please let him have said it like that. She might die. She might.
Other eyewitnesses later countered this claim and said, no, she was fine. She was absolutely fine. We went for coffee. She was quite fine. On the 26th of April, 1892, after eating breakfast, Anna suddenly developed such a severe headache that she was unable to stand. The doctor is sent for, and Dr McIntyre arrives shortly after. But upon a no doubt very detailed, thorough examination, he concludes that she was suffering from hysteria.
What?
It's woman's problems, woman's problems.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Or they're saying hysteria and that kind of
I believe.
Just basically making his hand gesture around her womb and going, hysteria.
It's that sort of area thing going on there.
There's a woman's thing. I don't know what it is. There's no way of knowing what women's things are going on all the time.
None of that. We don't know
He
what's
may as well
going.
have just walked in and just gone, period, and then walked out.
He prescribes 1 teaspoon of bromide of sodium every 2 hours, which is a mild sedative. In water, have a nice sleep, you'll be fine. He returns at 2 p.m. Her symptoms are so much worse. So he added 2 drachms of a chloral hydrate, a stronger sedative, to the teaspoon that she was due to take. So let's knock her out even more.
But what? What doctor is this?
This is the one that doesn't have time to deal with women's problems.
Oh, yeah, she's got hysteria. Just knock her out.
Knock her out.
Put her to sleep until she stops complaining.
Pretty much.
That's it. Make her sleep until her period goes away.
Yep. Just after 3 p.m. that day, Mrs. Brockway, one of Anna's friends, visits and sees Buchanan giving Anna 2 teaspoons of something. Now, this sort of quite seemingly insignificant detail is actually later remarked upon in court when Mrs. Brockway says there were definitely 2 teaspoons. Dr. McIntyre says, well, I only prescribed 1 teaspoon. Something very awry going on there. Buchanan claims that my spoon is smaller than everyone else's. Therefore, I must have 2.
They say he carved it himself from a bigger spoon.
Yes. He has tiny, tiny spoons.
He was using a salt cellar spoon.
Yes,
he was
same
just
spoon.
dishing it out like that. Oh, I love the idea that a trial comes down to what size spoon was there.
It was proved that he has exactly the same size spoon as everyone else.
They brought the spoons to court.
They did.
The
They brought the
spoons
spoons.
had to testify. It was someone saying it was a smaller spoon. No, he needed a bigger spoon. She had 2 spoons. Another lawyer was saying there was fucking poison on it. Why will no one address this?
After taking these however many spoonfuls from Buchanan, Anna was said to have immediately grimaced in pain and reached out for some oranges that were on her bedstand in effort to sort of take away the bitter taste that was in her mouth. Now, we could have had oranges as a secret ingredient.
Yeah, I was
Where's the
gonna
fun
say.
in that?
I'm sure there's oranges elsewhere in other stories, so let's save that.
Quite.
But yeah, give me the poison.
Within 15 minutes, she has fallen into a deep, deep sleep from which she never wakes up.
You mean death?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
At the moment, she's asleep.
It's called a coma.
Later on that day, she's still asleep. But a nurse notices Buchanan bent over Anna and apparently dropping something into her eyes.
No! Is it a tiny, tiny teaspoon?
It's a tiny teaspoon.
Is he using the tiny teaspoon to drop the belladonna into her eyes?
When Dr. McIntyre returns later that evening to check on his patient, he returns with another physician, and they note the now unconscious Anna was breathing incredibly slowly, but her pulse is racing. Her face is flushed, her skin is hot and dry, but the pupils are quite normal. Both doctors believe that she's actually had a stroke. They conclude that she's actually suffered from a stroke, and they think, well, I'm really sorry if she has at the time. Not much we can do. If she regains consciousness, then we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
She dies the next day.
Sorry, I don't know why I found that so funny with the doctors going,
Why
well, if she
was that
regains consciousness the next day, we'll see what we can do. She dies the next day. Well, there we are.
Well, we tried.
We tried by waiting to see if she died.
Pretty much. No.
I love doctors back then, but still doctors, the greatest poison of them all.
On the day of Anna's death, Dr. Buchanan tells a friend that Providence was smiling upon him. Immediately after the funeral, he goes on a pub crawl with his mates.
What?
Which, while perhaps not the done thing, he is a grief-stricken man in deep mourning for his beloved wife. You could not deny him a drink or two to ease the pain, to ease his suffering. Though throughout the festivities, they were perhaps slightly too cheerful in their celebrations.
What were they doing?
Buchanan was generally gleefully discussing how much he had inherited from his wife and how he was going to spend the money. That was the main topic of conversation, which is generally not so good.
He was going to get a collection of bigger spoons.
From the life insurance policy, he got $50,000 as well as her property and her savings.
Yeah.
He ended up with about $1.2 million. In today's money, about $1.2 million.
Good God.
It's huge sums of cash.
And if you're shouting
Huge
about
sums
that at the wake, sorry, and especially if it's something that's coming through on life insurance, they're going to raise eyebrows.
Well, you would think. After a few days, Buchanan goes back to Nova Scotia. He
Suddenly.
goes back to his family. He needs to clear such painful memories. He should go back. It's where he no doubt has family. And only 3 weeks later, 3 weeks after his wife's death, he remarries his first wife.
Oh, fuck off.
Why on earth she has taken him back after the humiliation he's put her through, I have no idea.
Oh, for
he
God's
remarried.
sake.
They have a daughter together. Does that make any difference?
That he apparently abandoned.
Well, precisely. And she, after the divorce, went back to Nova Scotia to escape gossiping and the rumours
What
that
goes
were...
through the head? Oh.
But she takes him back after all this time. After they remarried, they in fact returned to New York. He still has a semblance of a practice there, although minimal. But he
How?
has...
How?
Well, what he also as well has, he has Anna's property in New Jersey. While he's there, he discovers that Ike White, a reporter, has been looking into the details of Anna's death. He has heard about Buchanan's boasts after the Carlisle Harris trial and about the furious rows between the couple. Ike, it seems, is actually quite the bar hopper himself. He goes from place to place trying to pick up stories, pick up gossip and rumours and things like that. And it pays off, and he hears about Buchanan and what he's been saying and the situation. He digs up a huge amount of dirt and gossip, mainly, surrounding the death. And he is actually able to pressure the authorities into looking into Anna's death. It had initially just been taken as a natural causes, a stroke, as Dr. McIntyre says, but Ike is able to say, no, this needs investigating, and very reluctantly, the authorities decide to do it, and they exhume Anna's body for a autopsy.
Good for him.
Well, indeed, he's sticking there, probably writing stories, obviously, in his papers and things like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, absolutely, he's investigative reporting. That's exactly what he's doing.
You got to think maybe the paper actually pays for the autopsy.
Potentially so. The autopsy shows more than enough morphine in her remains to have killed several times over. They also find evidence of atropine.
Hey.
As we said, a drug from the Belladonna family that dilutes pupils and increases heart rate, explaining her symptoms when she was lying unconscious.
It wasn't just the ardour that she felt for her husband with her wide eyes and a fluttering heart.
The autopsy also reveals that she has not suffered a stroke, nor has any other disease that would have accounted for her death. Buchanan is arrested and charged with murder. But there is no direct evidence connecting Buchanan with the murder. There's plenty of witnesses or witness statements about things they've heard, about gossip that's been overheard, how Buchanan has described how he would get away with the murder by using atropine, but no physical evidence connecting him to these things. At trial, Buchanan attempts to blind the jury with science. He attempts to really outsmart everyone and make him sound like the cleverest man in the country, really, not let alone the room.
And the human body is made up with various veins of this, and the femur, the head bone's connected to the neck bone. Neck bone's connected to... Maybe not that.
It could well have been.
He just sang that for 6 hours.
But it started getting quite technical and quite involved, and the prosecution feared that we're actually going to lose the jury soon if we get too bogged down in the minutiae of science and chemistry. The jury are just every layman from...
But they're trying to. But it's a common tactic, is it, to bamboozle them with the science and with the technicality, so they get so bored and they just become blind.
Precisely, and the prosecution think this is exactly what they're doing. Yeah, really bamboozle, exactly the right word for it. So they just switch off and just don't take any of it in. The prosecution decide that a demonstration is required on how this murder could have taken place. They needed something really powerful to convince the jury. Now, this is the point of the story that I think is probably going to upset the most people at all.
Oh,
the death of the brothel madam. That is not concerning at this point.
What?
They bring in a stray cat to the courtroom.
No, shut up.
See, I told you. They inject the cat.
But what? No, no. I was going to say, were they going to bring in a cat that was also a prostitute?
No.
The stray cat that had been walking the streets and knew all because it was wise.
No.
Please let it be that story.
The cat, unfortunately, does not come off quite as well in the true version of events. They bring in this cat and they inject the animal with a lethal dose of morphine. As the judge, jury, lawyers, and all the spectators in the courtroom watch on, the expert witness from the prosecution drops atropine onto the cat's eyes, and they watch as the pupils constrict and return to a normal size after being pinpointed by the morphine. Now, this, unsurprisingly, this demonstration makes a huge impact on everyone in the room to what they have just witnessed. They know that this method that Buchanan has propounded in his bars and things like that, they know it works. They have seen it with their own eyes. This method gets rid of those telltale signs of morphine.
Okay.
It's pretty grim.
Yeah, we'll come back to it at the end. I can't say anything right now. I just can't. I know it's. I'm gonna have to come back to this at the end because there's many flaws in what I'm going to say, but still. The
defence is still incredibly vigorous in their denials of guilt. They are still going, well, how do you know that Buchanan is the man that did this?
That's how it could happen, but he has not been the hand.
Exactly. Many in the court actually think that Buchanan might get acquitted. They actually think that perhaps he will actually get away with this until he decides to take the stand himself. He is going to defend his own honour. He is going to rebuff these malicious accusations.
Yes. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yum, 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 yum. Everyone knows an arrogant doctor back in the day going, I think I can style this shit out.
Exactly.
We would just be at the back of the court going, oh, please let this happen. Oh, please let this happen. Oh, lay it on me, Nick.
This, of course, goes terribly wrong. Dr. Buchanan comes across as a whiny, self-obsessed, arrogant, evasive witness. The prosecution trap him in lie after lie and contradiction after contradiction. In his giving evidence, he does just as much to convict himself than anything the prosecution could have thrown at him. He has convinced everyone without any doubt that he is utterly guilty and a complete utter bastard. From his testimony, he has damned himself entirely.
Defense were like, no, we have a good thing. Sit down, we're winning.
If he had sat down and shut up, he may have got away with it.
Clear arrogance of someone. We've seen this before in other cases where you've got, unfortunately, it's doctors a lot of the time where they think they are playing God and they just genuinely think that their approach to everything will get them through. And if they speak to me, I can reason this. Because if the guy's been in the pub shouting about how he's going to poison his wife, then he obviously thinks he can convince a jury.
Yeah, it does not. It does not go well. He is guilty as charged. The jury take no time whatsoever to come back with that. With his guilt decided, he faces a mandatory death sentence. There's nothing else the judge can do. It's death. He is transferred to Sing Sing prison. None of his appeals work. His lawyers even reach out to the British ambassador. As a Canadian, he is a British subject at the time. And they say that the ambassador should intercede on his behalf. The ambassador goes, no, I'm not getting in the middle of this one.
No, please, I have too many for Russia to work through.
He may well have been a British subject, but he's in America, he's broken American laws, and he should face American justice. And he does. Dr. Robert Buchanan was sent to the electric chair on the 2nd of July, 1895. One of the only things the papers have to say is that the execution was the most efficient and simple in Sing Sing's history.
Do they say why?
No, just it was quick, effective, to the point, done. And one of the things that slight side note, that I learned from researching this story is that the chap who was actually tasked with throwing the switch on the electric chair was known as the state electrician.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought that's brilliant.
State electrician.
This story of Robert Buchanan and the arrogance of doctors.
Yay! Oh, good story. God, another doctor. Just trying to style it out the whole time. Yeah, so a couple of things. I have notes. I have notes.
I'm quite sure that you do.
I suppose the first thing is the way he treated his wives.
Oh, dreadful.
Marrying, then going out to prostitutes, going out to brothels, marrying someone who flatters you the whole time, and then complaining about her background, where you set her up as a receptionist, where you're clearly trying to get her to work for you for free while living off her. God damn it! God damn it to hell!
Yes.
I'm gonna have to bring up the cat.
It was a shock when I read it, I must admit. I thought, the rest of the story, I can twist that into something a bit silly and a bit jovial, maybe, but that was like, oh shit.
If you want to test if it is going to kill a human, bring a human into the court, because a cat is not a human being. Don't put poison in it and go, it's the same as if you killed a human, because it's not going to work out that way. I'm very upset. Very upset, Nick.
It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
No. But that does show the hypocrisy of what we do.
Well, it does. You're not wrong. That a woman has lost her life. And has been murdered in painful and upsetting circumstances, and we're more concerned about the cat. And it does show that, have we got really our priorities slightly wrong?
100%. There's a lot of people out there. I think a lot of people who listen to these podcasts, and many of our fans listen to true crime podcasts, where they listen to murder and the most horrific killings, aside from poison. But if one goddamn animal dies, no.
Yeah, it's a strange quirk of humanity that we seem...
I suppose it's the death of innocence, or something that can't defend itself. I think that
yes,
that
is
is
that, yes.
the malicious killing of something, and it's usually a sign of psychopathy to hurt an animal. So anyone who could, in a group, if you the feeling that if you can hurt an animal in front of a group of consenting adults, that's not a good thing. I don't like it. No matter what you're doing it in the name of. Yeah, loads of our listeners just going, oh yeah, how did he kill his wife? Oh, he put the poison in there. The cat? No! Turning it off right now.
So I may have lost us 1 million subscribers, I don't know.
We do not condone that shit. Well, love that story. What do you think, people? What do you think about Robert Buchanan? What do you think about his wife? His wife took him back.
Why? Why would you do that?
Was she in on it? Was she in on it?
Well, there is so little written. There was nothing written about her apart from, they were married, they got divorced, they married again. I don't even know what her name was. So,
it may be too Agatha Christie, but maybe she fucking did. Maybe she was in on it. So go marry a prostitute.
Probably more like, yes, they have a daughter together. She's going to find it incredibly difficult to remarry she's a divorced woman with a daughter. In that day,
he rocks up with 50 grand.
Yeah, he rocks up going, I'm so desperately sorry, will you take me back? Maybe at the best you could get.
What do you think, people? Do you think Robert was a dick?
That's the only option there is.
What do you think of the story? Is this one you've heard before? Is it just more confirmation that all doctors are evil up until a certain point in the 20th century, and then they became great? Tell us, if you're a doctor, tell us what you think.
And remember, love it to hit 100 Patreons this year, if we can.
Yay!
So please, if you haven't joined us on Patreon, do come and see what you think. If it's not for you, leave. No hard feelings. See what you think. If you like it, stick with us. It'd be great to see you there. On Friday, we will have our recipe out for our cocktail. I think it is very highly recommended. The Belladonna Daiquiri. Give it a go. Let us know what you think.
It's an outstanding cocktail. I've had 2 of them, and I'm drunk. I'm not going to lie, people. You could be like me right now. Really do try it. Send us more suggestions of cases that you want to hear, of cocktails you want us to make. We'll figure them in somehow. Come and find us on Patreon. Come and find our merch store as well. Christmas is coming up. So it's the perfect time to send yourself, or you know what, send each other, all the other people who are fans of Poisonous Cabinet. If you don't know each other, send each other a gift. Why not? Treat yourself to a t-shirt or a phone case or a mug. Everyone loves a good mug.
Everyone loves a mug.
Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisoner's Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.